Time is not important because you don't have any problem with it. It is not in your dimensional reality when you're on my side of the veil. But you can still see the beauty and the light and watch it unfold. Dear ones, your solar system is simply a pinpoint of light within billions of pinpoints of light. And yet here I am with you. I want to tell you about the creation of Earth because it was planned. The seeding of your planet approximately 200,000 years ago, which lended itself to what you call Lemuria in 50,000 and beyond, is brand new. I want to take you 4 to 5 billion years ago. I want you to watch your planet develop. And as you do, I want to give you information. And the reason I do it is because I want you to see something. I want you to see a benevolent plan that has created the couch of consciousness and the garden that you inhabit. Something that was never an accident, prepared in advance by the Creator itself for you, so that you will have an idea of the importance of the human being to us. How can I tell you things that you cannot know of or see or that you never discovered? I would like to remind you of something. The creation of earth as described in your most recent scriptures has the metaphor of a 7-day creation. These were indeed dispensations of creation, steps of creation, not days. And look at the amount of verbiage given to the creation of earth as opposed to the creation of the universe or each galaxy or the trillions of other earths and stars. And why was it just the story of you? In that which you would call Genesis in the beginning, it wasn't really the beginning at all, was it? It was about you. And the reason that there are not volumes and volumes written about the creation of everything else is because everything else is different than you. You see, you were created by design. Design. The Creator is the one who can put together the stars in a certain way, control and create any part of what you would call that which is matter and mass and physics itself in order to build that which it needs to build for you. Beautiful it is. God, it is. Picture the earth in its infancy, in its beginning. That is where the story started in Genesis, not with the bigness of it all. Only a few words about the universe and light, the sun. Is all about you. Because the earth is designed. The first design, dear ones, had life occurring on the earth from 2 suns. Now, you should know this. This is not verified, but will be, and is common sense. If you have a planet somehow rotating around a 2-star system of any kind, even if it's a complex rotation, you have double the chances for the beginning of life. The sun is the giver of life. It is the catalyst of chemistry combined with that on the planets, which would then have amino acids, the electricity of storms, all then to create that which is the building blocks of the kind of life you know. With double the power of the sun, not heat, but the sun, 2, it's going to happen quick. 1 was taken away. Now, this is intuitive, and you'll even find it in some of the prophecies, in some of the channelings, but you'll find it in a very different way because it has gone to a way that humans like, negativity. But it was accurate. You lost a son. Now, there's a reason for this, and it's twofold. Number 1, so that life would not develop quickly. It had to come later. You had to sit and wait for it, because this planet of free choice needed time for other planets to do what they did before you ever got going. And the second thing is that all life that can travel from planet to planet in this galaxy knows that life will be found around 2 suns. So you hide. To the most part, you have remained hidden from the other life which is able to see you or touch you or travel to see you. And the few that do and have do not necessarily talk to the others. There's no internet in the galaxy. What happened to your sun is it collapsed upon itself and gravity became great. Much of it dissipated and the gases burned off. It never exploded. It simply collapsed. The collapse itself was traumatic, absolutely, to the earth, but there was no life on the earth. It didn't matter. Part of the earth was cooling. It didn't matter. The rest of it, which was matter and not much matter, became smaller, actually, than a planet and disappeared. Some have channeled that that planet has a name and it's dark and it still rotates your existing sun. Some have channeled that it hides from you behind the sun and that somehow, in some way, it's going to get a push to come around and destroy you soon. Now, I want to ask you, dear human being with common sense in this new energy, did you come all this way past the marker just to be destroyed? And so I want you to take that information and sort it where it belongs, into folklore, mysticism, and things that are not going to happen. Could I be clearer? The magnificence of what you've done does not then go toward destruction by a nameless planet that I will not mention, that comes at you from the dark with impossible physics that nobody can see. Here you are on a planet with technology that allows you to see small asteroids, to travel to them and land on them, and you're expected to believe that a planet's going to come out of the dark that nobody knows is going to happen or see, and your instruments can't pick up, and it's going to hit you and kill you. Common sense. Let it prevail. But you lost a son. The earth was hobbled at that point. Life was tough. It was made tougher by the geology of the planet, which kept erupting. It didn't quite cool as fast, perhaps, as others around it. Now, it had one sun, and that has something to do with it. It didn't have quite the gravity, it did not have quite the friction that you would have otherwise in other ways that would create some kinds of the heat that you didn't expect. Just to say this, it didn't cool right, not like some of the others. Uninhabitable, even by microbes. When life got its start, it fizzled. Didn't work, it wasn't balanced. It started again, and it fizzled. It wasn't balanced. There was something missing. It fizzles, that is to say, it dies because it was not sustainable, it was not self-sufficient. The sparks of life were given 5 times. One sun, it's a tough call. Go ahead and try it. Build a greenhouse, plant your vegetables, and then cover it up with a tarp. And let's watch what happens. And then it happened over and over. For whatever reason geologically you want to consider, and I will tell you, there was intelligent design here, the earth would erupt. Thousands of volcanoes would go up at the same time, covering this planet with a dark cloud that lasted thousands and thousands of years. Nothing could grow. No life could happen. The sun was blotted out. The little sun you had wasn't there. Eventually, it took place that the spark of photosynthesis happened. And at the time that life started on this planet and plants started to grow and microbes started to move around, I would like to give you information. At that point in time, Orion and Arcturus were alive and well with humanoids. Oh, you were slow. That's by design. You had to be stopped from growing too fast. Because when you appeared and were seated, it had to be the right way, with the right ones, in order to get that which is the magnificence of who you are and where you'd be. Controlled it was by the Creator itself. Even when you got going and things were good, suddenly there was a collision and you had the moon and you started over. And then the volcanoes went off again, wiping away 80% of the life that was there. Here comes the cloud. The beginning of animals, reptiles, disappearing completely, starting over. By then, the Pleiadians had the life force on their planet. The Pleiadians is a 7-sun cluster. You see 7, you call it 7. That 7 cluster is really 9. Some of the brilliance that you see from the earth that you call the suns actually are suns hiding behind the 7 that you claim are there. The configuration alone allows life faster than yours. The earth is what you would call a planet in the sweet spot of biology, just far enough away from the sun, a sun which is a certain size, to be the incubator that you needed for life, but not a very good one at the time. The Pleiadians had more. Not only that, there were 3 planets that rotated their suns, which they could facilitate and eventually did as their homes. It's very different, dear ones. This earth was by design. Life finally got going. And then the asteroids came and wiped it away yet again. Volcanoes went off, and it was covered yet again. It didn't cool very well. Dear ones, it's still not cooled enough. You still have volcanoes going off, but it's now appropriate and okay. When life started to take hold as you know it today, it was the beginning of the history that you know of. You don't know what happened before because there's no way to have recorded it. The moltenness of the planet, the volatility of it, wiped away every trace of what had happened. You only know what you can see that remained. If you had a way of interrogating the depths of the planet as it churned itself over upon itself, you might actually be able to figure it out, and you'd be shocked. It took so long to get going. 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 3.5 billion. By this time, there was life all over the galaxy that was humanoid. And some of them had the Creator inside like you do. And they had higher selves, and they were working on the puzzles that you were. And you were still microbial. By design, it is beautiful, is it not, how we held it back so you would not arrive too soon. Now, the irony in all of this, dear human being, is that you are not sitting here watching it and waiting it. You see, you had planets of your own. You were working on then. We have told you this before. This is what you do. What you are doing on this planet, some of you are starting to remember you've been through before. That is the intuition starting to kick in and actually create a bridge between your consciousness and your innate and your higher self that starts to reveal what your Akash knows about you in other worlds. We do not encourage you to spend time with this because it will not help you now except for you to realize that it happened before and it turned out well. Why am I telling you this? I want you to know it was designed for you. With love and benevolence and beauty for you. Some of you sitting there wondering, who am I? Why me? Woe is me. With the lack of self-worth is unbelievably strong for a light worker. Because you've been through so many negative things in so many lifetimes and you're expecting it to happen again. I want to tell you, this was designed for you. Because you are magnificent. This is the way it works and always has worked. You were able with free choice to destroy yourself, never get out of the playground, but you didn't. And wisdom prevailed. And now you're in the twilight of an ascended planet by design. Evolution. Now it gets different. Here come the animals that are going to survive, not the dinosaurs. No more extinction. Now we have to get going. And now we accelerate it. And everything that you know about evolution is wrong. If you do the computations of how long it would take with the Darwin theory, it would have taken 8 to 10 times as long. This evolutionary process to bring you to humanism was accelerated.